Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We are here to discuss the importance of politics to us, Black people. So I have two amazing speakers that are deep into politics as they are current candidates for political office. Now, before I get started, I need to share with you all that this initially was a vision of Reverend Kenneth Walker, the founder of the Inferno Uncaged. Reverend Walker had a personal emergency today and could not facilitate. So we quickly switched platforms so that we could keep this thing going, as we knew a lot of people had committed to this particular project. That being said, we are going to discuss today some key things regarding politics. I'm going to introduce the speakers first, and allow them to introduce themselves. I'm going to give an example of a key politic that we missed. And then we're going to get into some questions. So please, if anyone has any questions, do not hesitate to type them. I will put them on the screen and the candidates will address them respectfully, as long as the questions are issued respectfully. And again, my name is Dr. Pamela Grayson. So I am going to bring on my first speaker. His name is Chunga Higgins, and he is an excellent candidate for District 7 council seat in Dallas. Go ahead, Chunga, tell the people who you are, why you're running, and the importance of politics to us in your perspective.
All right. Hey, Pam. Good. How you doing? Thanks for having me here today. My name is Chunga Higgins. I am a candidate for Dallas City Council District 7. And I'm running because as someone who's been working in the community for 20 years, I have seen time and time again leadership go down to City Hall that has made promises to our community here in District 7. And for some reason, those promises are not realized or they fall short. So we get a lot of progressive talk and promises during election time, but then when it's time to vote down at that horseshoe, it seems like our elected officials are voting a different way. I'm running for the future of South Dallas. I'm running for the future of our community. I'm running because Black communities matter, Black lives matter. And I'm running to make sure that we have some real progressive change in our community.
Great. Thank you so much for that. So now I have a third candidate. Are you there? Candidate Vasquez, are you there?
I am here. I am here.
So, all right, please introduce yourself. Tell us about the office for which you're running.
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Why you're running and what is the importance of Blacks in politics in your perspective?
Well, my name is Ricky Vasquez. I am running for District 5 in Fort Worth. That's pretty much the rural areas they call over here in the city. I'm running because a lot of the people's voices over here are completely ignored. And not only that, they state their problems to the leadership over here. And whenever it's mentioned, they take it quote unquote in consideration and they don't do nothing. But however, when it comes to election time, they try to do things just to get back in office. And we need more consistency in office. And that's why I'm running. I'm very consistent on everything that I do. I served in the military honorably. I served in my community. And in fact, I took it a step further to become a chairman. And now I want to continue to work by serving as their city council.
All right. Thank you so much for that. So as I shared, I want to talk about the importance of politics in regards to the Texas Criminal Court of Appeals. And I have shared this before. And this is the tipping point for me. We had an excellent candidate run for that office, and I did invite her today, but she had familial obligations. We had an excellent candidate run for that, and she didn't win because it was a statewide office. And I think that we didn't make enough noise because we didn't understand how that particular office impacted us. The Texas Criminal Courts of Appeals is the highest criminal court in the state of Texas. This is your final option if you are looking to get something overturned or reversed outside of a governor's pardon. Now, you have someone sitting on this court that was kicked off the bench in Lou Sterrett, but he's on the Criminal Courts of Appeals. This is the court that can stop what's happening to Crystal Mason and Ben Spencer. But this court is stacked against people of color. We had an opportunity to put someone of color on that court, but we didn't understand the importance of it, and I don't think we made enough noise. Now, our candidate won in the cities, but it's in the rural areas that we should have focused on more. That is the importance of these elections, because as an attorney, you tell me you're running for a court. I don't really know. I'm not an attorney, but we missed it on this one and not understanding the importance of that particular legislative position. So now I'm going to start with questions for my candidates. Either one of you feel free to jump in. Do you think that we as a people at this stage in time fully grasp the importance of local elections versus the big ones like your presidential and gubernatorial? Do we grasp how important it is to put judges in the right spaces? Do we grasp how important it is to put city council people in the right spaces? Mayors. Do we grasp that?
I personally think that we don't, in a way, especially like with a lot of issues that we see like within the community. We always tend to always blame like president or the Senate, when in reality, most of the issues that we have are local issues. Like, for instance, when it came to the COVID, the federal government gave the CARES Act to the cities, and they were supposed to distribute at like their disposal on how they feel it needs to be distributed within the city. And we have a lot of the people that are going at the federal government. I get it, yes, the stimulus check, but when it comes to like evictions and everything, that could have been taken care of by the county court, which they did at the beginning. They stopped all the evictions, city and the housing assistance. They froze it all, and they only did that one time. And they have yet to do it again, especially with all the evictions that increased over here in this part of the town. So I think the local elections are pretty important, and it shows. That's like one thing I liked about 2020. It showed a lot of things of what local government can do and what local government can't do. And by that being exposed, hopefully now we take the local elections very seriously.
Good point. Good point. Changa?
Yeah, I mean, very important. I mean, one of the big downfalls, we've seen it over and over again. Like when you look at when in 2008, when President Barack Obama came in, we voted in record historic numbers, right? But we voted again as well in record historic numbers for President Joe Biden and Vice President Harris. But you know, even though we got Obama in office, you know, we didn't keep that same energy when it came to Congress, and we saw seats being taken away because people didn't vote, you know, come out in that way and vote. So it kind of deadlocked and handheld him on a lot of the policies that he wanted to enact. So you know, local is very, very important. I mean, you know, that's state, but also state and you know, state level elected officials, but also locally too. I mean, you know, you live in a city that has city services. You live in a city that there's someone who is being elected that is making plans for your community. Whether you know them or not, those plans are being made for you. Those plans are being made about the future of your community, and you know, and where money is going, where resources are going, how policing is done, how how much social services and city services are being allocated into your community. And in Dallas, unfortunately, a big hand in development. So your city council person has a big hand in that as well. So it's very important to your life. It's actually in some ways more important than voting nationally or in a presidential election, because it's real, it's tangible, it's right here.
So in your opinions, I'm going off the comment you made, Changa, that we didn't keep that same energy for Congress when it came to voting in a president. And then, so do you, in looking at, there was a movement during the last election called Vote Down Ballot. And so what I understood that to mean was that we wanted everyone to vote for all candidates except presidential and leave that blank.
Mm-hmm. You talking about the ADOS down ballot movement?
Huh?
You talking about the ADOS vote down ballot?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then have we grasped the actual value or the importance of voting is my question. Now, I was against down ballot because I needed 45 gone because he was jacking with my health care. I, as an insulin dependent diabetic, am on the Affordable Care Act. No insurance company would touch me with a 10-foot pole unless they have to. For people with pre-existing conditions, this is life giving. This is life damaging, life meaning, important. Have we grasped the importance of our politics? Tell me, what is the importance of the Black vote, in your opinions?
Well, can I jump in? I think we first got to start off and ask ourselves why people don't vote. Like why in like locally Dallas, only 10% of folks in my district actually come out to vote in District 7. And I would say, that a lot of times the onus and the responsibility is put on the people, but I feel like the process, the way in which we vote, the way our leadership is chosen, the choices of who we get as far as leadership are ones that don't have anything to do with the realities that most working people, Black people, Latino people, poor people out here are dealing with in their everyday lives, right? So it is not relevant. It's not being made relevant. When we talk about politics, we don't center those people in those conversations. And I think that is why you see such a low voter turnout, and people don't understand it, because people trying to survive, people trying to pay bills, people trying to keep their electricity on, their water on, and feed their kids. And so many people that I talked to on January 20th on Inauguration Day, like, dude, this is another day. I didn't even look at that like for 5 minutes on TV, right? Because it just feels like the majority of people, particularly Black people in this country, are so disconnected and disenfranchised from politics. And even though it does affect their daily lives, there's no connection to what they're going through for daily survival. And so I think the conversation always needs to start there, is that we have a system politically that's broken, and the system that doesn't center the people, or isn't centered around the people who need the system to work for it the most.
Wow, that's powerful. And that is true. I was walking around my neighborhood yesterday here in District 7. And the first question out my mouth, do you know who your city councilman is? We haven't seen him in years.
Yeah.
They don't even come here. Like, people in Dixon Circle don't even matter.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Ricky.
Oh no, that was just, my mic just tapped. Okay, I was listening to you as you were speaking.
Okay, all right. Did you have a response? I'm gonna go ahead and show a couple of responses. Ms. Kizzy says we have to educate our people about the importance of city councils and judges. We have to vote. And another issue is candidates don't come out until the last minute. And according to the folks here, they don't even come out then. When it's time for votes, must represent in our community. Now, I go back to what you just said, Chongo, about it being put on the people to, I guess, get out and vote and learn the candidates and so forth. To me, some of that is on the people. How do we meet them halfway as well? Ricky, how do we meet people halfway when it comes to them educating themselves on candidates and being motivated to vote?
I would say really to meet people halfway is to actually communicate with them. It's like kind of the things that I've done. Like I've communicated with the community, find out exactly like what the issues are and what needs to be done. And then I also told them on things that I see that they probably haven't seen. So I legit show them like when you're gonna run, you have to always have like some type of plan, some type of platform that you're gonna do to run, and that together shows like if you've been listening, that right there is legit to me a halfway point. It shows that hey, this person was actually listening to us. He actually represents us. So far, he's shown that he's listened to the issues that are going on. So that's a good halfway point, which is the communication part. And then once you get in, you show that other half that, hey, I'm in it on action part also. And if they don't, if you don't show it, obviously they will vote you out. But on my end, I kind of do both ways. I do action on the outside and I do action on the inside so people can see exactly what am I about. And I believe that's even a more halfway point. I believe that's like a 75% grasp there, especially if you're not only saying it, but you're actually doing it out there.
So we see the comment that candidates only show up when it's time for election. What does a good candidate look like based on that observation? If I'm voting for a congressman or a city council member, how often should I see them? What does that look like? Do they always come to my neighborhood? Or do I need to kind of focus, go to city council meetings and pay attention to what they're doing?
You're cutting in and out on my end over here, but okay, yeah. So with candidates that come out, because I only heard like part of it, the candidates that come out only during election time, those are leaders that you probably really don't want to to follow, because if they haven't done anything, a true leader will actually go out, have town halls, probably like every maybe like twice a month or whatnot, keep people updated on social media. That's how you really engage with the people out there. Actually being at events the full time, not just showing up 5 minutes in photo ops. So by them only those type of candidates, and especially ones who only come out last minute, then yeah, those are the ones you want to watch out for, because why would you vote for a leader that you have not seen, but yet that your friends and family members have not seen? When people ask about, hey, who's such and such, and the response, then that should tell you a lot of this stuff about.
All right, Ricky, we don't have the best connection. We're hearing like every other word. I think we'll probably need to have you log back out and log back in, and so we can get a better connection. Is that okay? Ricky? All right.
Yeah.
All right. So Chonga, now I'm going to ask you what, and then I'm going to ask the second question. Does social media replace actual contact?
No, I would just say to your question, what does a good elected official look like? I think, and since we're talking in context of the Black community, I would say that, you know, the idea of what our leadership looks like in our community right now is we're kind of stuck in a paradigm that is not working well for us in our community. It's actually hurting us. And right now, our leadership, when we talk, and I'm talking directly about city council, historically in our community, leadership has been a one-way communication. It's been a one-way thing. It's very patriarchal. It's very top-down. And it is something to, whereas our city council leaders, elected officials, they actually kind of act like they're the boss of the district, right? And so that has hurt us a lot, because when you operate out of that way, you lose a lot of the innovation, you lose a lot of the people power in your district, and you're not able to use it to your advantage to get things done. So I think that a big part of reason why I'm running is I'm running to disrupt that idea of what leadership is supposed to look like. Good leadership to me is supposed to co-govern with the people in the community. You're not supposed to know all the answers, and we got to stop expecting our elected officials to know all the answers. We got to expect our elected officials to actually create an environment to where we can work together to figure out the answers together, figure out the solutions together, and then come up with a plan together, right? So co-governance is one thing. And if you have that, then you don't have to worry about senior leadership all the time, because they're going to be there with you, right next to you as a partner in solving problems in your community, solving those problems, right? Yes, they need to be present. They need to be visible, but they also need to know when to get out of the way, right? They need to know when it's time to be a leader and when it's time to be a bridge and be a catalyst for people fixing their own problems as well. Here in Dallas City Council, and particularly because we only have, a few African American city council folks, we always hear the same thing year after year when we ask why things weren't done, and they say, well, you got to be able to count to 8. And I think that's kind of offensive to tell the community that.
I do too. Absolutely.
I feel like it's very, very offensive, because it says in a very ulterior way that we don't understand government, right? And we don't understand that they might not have majority votes to get something done in our community. Because a lot of times what we call progress and what we really want in our communities, we know that the larger white community and the rest of the city, historically here in Dallas, has been against it. So we know we can't count to 8, but the biggest problem that we have is that our leadership does not convene with the people. They don't co-govern with the people, and they don't solve problems with the people. And that's the biggest problem that we have here. There are a lot of things in this district that could be happening, in my district, District 7, that could be happening right now, today, if our leadership thought differently, and if our leadership was a bridge and a facilitator for people being able to solve their own problems, because we already know what the problems are in our community. We don't need to have a study. We don't need to have a platform. We don't need a new plan to understand what needs to happen in our community. And also, sometimes we know how to fix it. We just need a city council person that gives us the resources, that gives us the access to what we need, and creates the space for us to be able to solve those problems together. So that's what I mean when I say people power. And we got to change that in our community, how we look to our leaders for everything. But we also got to elect leaders and put leaders down there that are ready to disrupt that way of thinking and showing a different model of how we're supposed to lead in the community.
So a couple of things I want to ask. How important is it to us as Black people to elect leaders that have a significant understanding of the history of the district or area that they are looking to lead? I mean,
I'll let you go ahead.
am I okay electing somebody that's been here 3 months because they say they're going to bring in change?
Nah.
You go ahead, Rick.
I believe it isn't. I believe it is important. Yeah. I believe the history part is important in a way, but also like I wouldn't really look at it like how long so now the city, yeah, but how long so living in like for instance, me, I grew up on the north side. My grandfather's Arthur Lee Conley. He actually had a day named after him here in Fort Worth. But I would also have family over here on this side of town in Stop Six. So pretty much it's like a combination. I've been living in like pretty much the city, but I've been like combination in both areas. And I've always seen like the lack of representation in this area. So, but we also know the history. Like a lot of people in Stop Six will tell you Stop Six is the capital of Fort Worth. They will straight tell you that. And the people who probably say it's not, they probably don't live in the area because everyone who lives in the area knows that. And everyone knows the culture here is predominantly African American. You have Latinos and you have some whites here. So you have to know like also the people that you are representing because different people have different parts of history. Like we know the history here is Stop Six, but what about the people who the history about Meadowbrook? They probably want you to know that area. A lot of people don't know District 5, a part of Euless, Texas is a part of Fort Worth. Like, yeah, your address will say Euless on it, but your city council person is a Fort Worth city council, which just so happens to be in District 5. So you have to like know different parts. So I say you have to be able to adapt and not only like I get everyone's pride about the history. That's cool and it's good, but I wouldn't like pretty much put it out there in everyone's face. Like I'll be like, yeah, our history over here is this and this. So tell me about your history so I can relate to yours. So I know exactly what you need or what you guys are prideful about because I don't want to overstep some boundaries on some issues.
All right, and we are having connectivity again. Candidate Vasquez, we're hearing you're breaking up. But Changa, go ahead and answer the question. How important is it that the candidates have an understanding of the history, longevity in the area in which they want to govern?
It's real important. For example, in District 7 here in Dallas, a lot of folks call it one of the more unstable districts, city council districts, historically, because if you look, in the past 3 elections, we've had 3 different city council people, and in this time we have 7 to 8 people running for the seat. Last time we had 7 to 8 people running, and that's pretty much usually about 5 to 7 people at least running for city council in District 7. And a lot of those people, there have been people who have not even lived in the district that have come into the district to run. Like we have a couple of folks now, and I'm not going to mention any names. I know you want me to, Dr. G, but
I'll say it.
But we have a couple of people, and I don't think we need to say it, but we do have a couple of people running now who have had big question marks about when they moved into the district and have been known to be living in other places. But that's something that you see a lot here. In District 7, and I think it's a value statement. I think when people do stuff like that, it's a value statement on how important they think it is to have a connection to a community, and they're valuing their political aspirations over like actually having a connection to that community. So I think it's very important. I'm not originally from Dallas, but I've been here almost 20 years, and ever since I've been here, I have either worked for majority of the time I've been here. I've either worked or lived in District 7, either South Dallas Fair Park or over in East Dallas, Far East Dallas, where I live now. I've always been here, so I have an organic understanding of the issues in the community because I've lived those issues. My kids went to school here, graduated here. My family still lives here. I own homes in the district. So it's very important. It's very important.
All right. Now, I need, and I posted this question on my page, and you made the point, candidate Higgins. I'm not understanding this. Why does District 7 or districts like District 7, why do the districts like this face more gerrymandering? And why are so many candidates running for it? And I have to be candid in that most of these candidates I have never seen before. I've lived in the district only since September, but I've been in these streets with y'all for a number of years.
Right.
Where are these folks coming from now? Why is this district so appealing to so many people to try to fix, and yet it's in this condition?
So a quick answer to that is kind of similar to what Ricky was saying about Stop 6 and Fort Worth, but District 7 has South Dallas in it, sunny South Dallas in it, which is the prize in this city. When we talk about economic development, when we talk about the issues of gerrymandering, when we talk about all of these kind of issues, gentrification, South Dallas is not only a big prize, it's minutes away. You can walk to downtown from South Dallas, but it is also the historic heart of Black Dallas. And so the folks here in District 7, I think, are very high touch. The voters here are very high touch. Like, if they don't see you, if they do not see you, then they do not, then they're going to have a problem with you when it comes time for election, right? If they just saw you when it was time to get elected 2 years ago, and they don't see you since then, I mean, that's going to be an issue. Also, I think there's a lot of discontent with how things are going. I mean, I think you have a lot of people running. Myself, I'm running because, although our current councilman may do a good job of being visible to some parts of the community.
That look like him.
Yeah, although he may be visible to some parts of the community, other parts of the community feel like he doesn't value them at all. And so it's time for us to move past, once again, that old style of leadership. Yeah. Once again, it's time to move past this old dynamic of, one part of the neighborhood or one part of the community or one community needs to get more attention than another one, because it all fails. And as South Dallas goes, so does Oak Cliff go when it comes to development, gentrification, redlining, even in the new redistricting fight that's going to be happening this year. All of that is relevant to the future of the community. And right now, a lot of plans are being made for, I'm speaking specifically about South Dallas now, a lot of plans are being made for South Dallas that the people that live in South Dallas do not know about and are not a part of those plans. And so, that's why you see a lot of folks running. And you also see people coming into the district to run for their political careers, because they feel like it is easy to come into this district, even though you don't live here and you haven't legally lived here long enough to run in the community. Because once again, it's a value statement in the city about what communities are important and what's not. You can't pull that in some of the northern Dallas districts.
Wow. So you can't pull it up north, but they're trying to pull it down here.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Wassinger, who is the current councilman for District 7 in Dallas, that would be Councilman Adam Bazaldua.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody in Dixon Circle tell you that, though. Mr. Banks said, That's so true. When you come around only during voting time, that's not good. That shows your heart.
Mm-hmm.
As somebody that is Black and a voter, I look at your heart in your leadership. If I don't see you until election times, don't show up at all.
Mm-hmm.
If I can go down to city council, you don't acknowledge me. And you've got some council people that don't even acknowledge their constituents. That's meaningful. So let me ask you this. What do we need to do outside of the obvious? Do you have something innovative and new as candidates that would encourage Black people to grasp the importance of elections outside of the traditional registering to vote, pushing the importance of the vote? We already quote statistics of what our vote means, and we as a demographic have put in candidates on our own.
Mm-hmm.
What do I say to the person that says, well, my vote doesn't matter? They're going to do what they want to do anyway.
Ricky, you want to take that first?
I think he might be a little stuck.
Yeah.
Mute.
Okay, there he is.
Off. It says my mic. All right, there we go. It said my mic was still muted. I would say compared to that, it's not true, and we proved it. A lot of people thought Trump was going to win the term. We saw it. We saw the red wave, and we were kind of frightened. And then the next day, it showed that it was really a blue wave that came in which Biden won. So that alone just get right there. But not only that, we saw within the Senate, they were electing Republicans and Democrats. Democrats took over the Senate, which is good. But at the same time, it's just like people who say my vote doesn't count, we yet saw it. Like if Georgia didn't show you anything, then I don't know what more proof do you need about your not counting, because your vote definitely counts, and Georgia definitely showed it also.
Yeah, I'll say, what we saw, I think to get what was the question again? To get people involved or
yeah, to help people grasp the importance of the politics outside of traditional methodology, social media, voters registration, showing the statistics of what our vote means. How do we approach the nonchalant person that is jaded and says, my vote doesn't matter anyway? They're going to do what they want to do.
Well, here's the deal. First of all, let's take it back to the people. If I'm a Black man out here working at FedEx in the day, and then I go stock groceries at Walmart at night to pay my rent, right? That's a real scenario. How many people do you know that's like that? I don't have time to be thinking about to answering and understanding all of that, right? Number one. Mm-hmm. But when you do the work, when you put in real work, and that work is centered around the people, working people, poor people, Black, Latino, and their issues that they're facing, people start to pay attention. When you and so that's why I'm saying we got to start putting people in office who are activists and organizers and people who have been working out here on the front lines of trying to solve problems in our communities. We have to stop electing, and we have to stop playing into the idea of electing someone who has political aspirations, who has never done any work in the community that they want to represent, who doesn't have any history of doing any work in the community that they represent, and put people in place that actually have already been working to solve problems and think like organizers. We need leaders who think like organizers, right? Who think about how to involve community and center people in the process. So when we talk about how we make them understand the importance of the vote, we start talking about a living wage so that brother don't have to work at FedEx and then go work a stocking job at night at Walmart. You understand what I'm saying? And when you start talking like that, and when you start making moves like that, the people respond. If anything, this last election hasn't showed you, Georgia showed you, when you bet on activists and organizers, and when you bet on the grassroots, and you bet on the people, and you center what you're doing around the people will come out. The people will come out. And that's what happened. So it wasn't that, oh, they poured all this money into the state and whatever. People knew what the stakes were. It was real simple. We got to get Trump out of office. But then you had someone who thought like an organizer, Stacey Abrams, and other people working around her that went in the strip clubs, went in the nightclubs, went to talk to people. I was watching the Jeezy versus Gucci versus, and Stacey Abrams on there telling people to vote. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you bet on the people and you go to where the people are and you make the issues real to the people, and then you put an action behind it, then the people will start to respond and the people will come out and vote.
Wow. So make the issues real to the people and put action behind it. That is it. That was an excellent answer, in that you are right. Because if I'm struggling to live, I'm not paying attention to what's going on downtown. Mm-hmm. I'm not concerned with how bad the behavior is around that horseshoe.
I have no time. And just because we're passionate about these things and we understand how they work, we're involved in them. But easily, if I was in a certain situation and I was trying to feed my family, it'd be the last thing that I'm worried about. So.
And something I have seen that right now, there's a few councilmen, and we've had it out on social media, because what these council people will do is take credit for what organizers have done. I just saw, again, first of all, let me give a great round of applause to Sister Marsha over there with Shingle. Made it onto the international show, Bill Maher. She is great, an organizer. And then I saw a post where they said somebody in city council is taking credit for her work. That's the second time, because they did that the first time with the Botham Jean street name change.
That's right.
This some bulljack that's got to stop.
Mm-hmm. Well, it only stops when we put the right people in office. Marsha Jackson should be running that district, not that council person, because she's actually doing the work.
Exactly. And she did that.
Mm-hmm.
Candidate Vasquez, you got anything to add?
Yeah. On that last part, what you said, the council people taking credit for the things that the organizers do, that is so true. Because we actually see a lot of that. And then when you ask nation about it, they have no idea what it's about or what they're talking about on there. And we've seen a lot of that, especially over here in District 5. So it is time definitely to put the right people in to give credit where credit is due. Because, especially with the Tatiana Jefferson project, you saw how they try to take that credit.
And I was there.
It had nothing to do with it at all.
Exactly. That was 99% Brother James Smith who did that. We helped him, but that was the leader on that particular project, because you and I both worked on that.
Indeed.
All right. So that's something that needs to stop.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is, we've got about 10-15 minutes left, and I'm looking for questions. Please, the audience, do you have any questions? You got two candidates here, and understand, if you post the questions respectfully, I will post them and obligate the candidates to answer. So if that's something y'all want to do, bring it ahead. But what I'm going to do now is give these candidates the option that have taken so much time out of their time. They're both running campaigns. As you can see, both of them on the phone. And that's because I know one's got a campaign meeting here in a few minutes, and they hustle getting the websites together, getting the information together, getting the signatures in place. It's a lot of work to a campaign. Now, that's something I do want to ask, as somebody that's running a campaign and seeing that the campaign for the Criminal Courts of Appeals, that's expensive when you're running statewide. How as important is it to us as Black people to donate to campaigns? Explain to me, what is your cost in you outside of your time and personal resources? What is the cost in running for office? Because we as people, we need to do this more. But what are we obligating ourselves to when we run for office?
You want to go first, Ricky, or you know?
Either or.
Well, me personally, yeah, I got you. I got you now. So the cost of campaigns, it can get stressful, especially when it comes to like the money and everything. But at the same time, to me, campaigning is really actually easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not gonna sit here and tell people and lie and say you need a lot of money to do it, because you really don't, especially in the citywide election. To me, the more, in my opinion, the more money a person is spending is probably the more freaked out they are, because they need as much stuff as they can to win. But me personally, is what I do is I see Kitty Banks saying, let's talk more action. Which she's right. The thing that I do is all my campaigning resources legit came from the community. Like the lady who makes my flyers, business cards, and signs, I kid you not, she's 5 minutes down the street from me. But meanwhile, like some of my opponents and other city council people will be using people like in Austin, Texas, or a different state. Like for instance, my opponent spent like $5,000 on a consultant from Austin, Texas. Meanwhile, there's a person right over here on Brentwood Stair that does consulting for like way less than that. But not only that, like I like investing in my community. How am I going to represent you and tell you everything I'm gonna do if I don't invest in your business? And not only that, know what you need in that community to make you prosper in it. So that's pretty much like what I do. So like it can be hard, but at the same time, it's really easy, especially when you're using the people that you represent, because they want your business. They want to know that you care enough to actually come to them. They want their product being like known out there, taking pride. Like, yes, my local rep uses this business here. Like a lot of people would love that, but they don't, because our local officials don't use them. They're so busy going outside to other cities like Dallas or a whole nother state, like Milwaukee and everything. So we just got to just pretty much, if you keep it within, it's really easier. But don't get me wrong, it is kind of hard. Like the donation part is hard. The donation part, I probably say, is the most hardest part, especially with COVID going on. But not only that, some people don't invest at home, but at the same time, you got to have the bigger heart and being like, why don't these people invest in people at home and outside, and try to find that source so we can build up on it, really.
Shanga?
Yeah. So, you know, here in Dallas, in District 7, I would say it takes a, what you can expect is to be spending a lot of your own resources to make it happen. But also, I mean, it does take money, the density and the amount of doors you need to hit out here to really talk to voters and let them know who you are. It takes money, it takes donations. I personally like what Ricky is saying, because I feel like, if you have an organizing background, you kind of are used to being able to use people power and connections and relationships to get things done when you don't necessarily have money. So I would agree. You know, I've been an organizer for over 20 years. Some might call me a master organizer at this point, and I would say that campaigning is not hard. It's what I've been doing for the last couple of decades, and but you do need money because everybody can't be a volunteer, and so you know the problem with that type of model is that if you can't raise money, your ability to raise money really has nothing to do with how good of a candidate you are for the community either, right? Let's just be real. That system and that way of where it puts us in a consumer-based political idea, right? And when I say consumer-based political idea, it means now the voters are the consumers and I'm the producer. And I got to go out and sell to them why I'm the best one. So if I gotta be the shiniest, I gotta speak the best, I gotta make them feel the best, and then I might be able to get their money and their vote. And I think we always need to be able to step back, and I'm definitely one of those people who like to step back and look at fundamentally what we're doing and what part we can do to change that. And so one thing that I'm doing to change it is my campaign is ran by activists and organizers, right? People who you have seen out here on the street, on the front lines of policing, of environmental justice, of economic development, social justice, and different issues. You have seen the people who are running my campaign in those positions and out here in the streets. You've seen them in protests. You've seen them on the street. My campaign manager, you know, is Indiana Taylor. She has been out on the street. You know, she was 100+ days of protest over the summer. And that's really me showing that we can have a new model for how we run for office, what we talking to the people about, and how we run for office and how we get elected, right? Like I'm here to disrupt all of those things, right? Because I think all of them are broken, and at the end it hurts us, and it keeps us putting people in office that are not centered in the community. They're centered in politics, or they're centered in getting the position for whatever reason, their political aspirations, and a lot of times the plan is for them to move on. And so one thing that I'm going to definitely do when I get in office is my board appointees and everybody that I work with down around that horseshoe and City Hall are going to be actual people that have experience in organizing in specific areas. If you want to sit on the parks board, you better have some environmental experience or some experience creating green spaces or working in communities to beautify those communities, or showing that you have value in making sure we have park spaces and things like that, right? If you're just trying to get a political appointment to pad your resume for your political career, that's not going to be enough for me. If you want to be working on zoning, you better know something about the history of discriminatory zoning in South Dallas and other parts of our district. You better know about how heavy industry has tore up the social fabric, and highways have tore up the social fabric of our community with all this heavy industry and the environmental burden that our community has taken on historically in this city, right? So that's the model and the paradigm that I'm working with, and putting me in office down there and voting for me puts the people back in the power. It puts the people in the driving seat, and we're going to figure out how to solve these problems together and co-govern. We're going to show the city and the rest of these districts how it's a new model for leadership and how we can do this different in the city, and we can get something done.
That is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. I think that one thing that we need to look at too as Black people, we have a mayor that looks like us in Dallas, but based on the decisions, he's clearly not for us. We didn't put him in office, but had we voted more vehemently for his opponent, he wouldn't have made it into office. This is how important this is to us. So I'm going to go ahead. We're going to wrap it up. Candidate Vasquez, do you have anything you want to end with? You know, tell your people in District 5 why they should vote for you.
Oh, yes. So everyone out there is pretty much, if you don't feel like you've been better off since 2013, we actually have another decision, and which is me. Pretty much what I have to offer, especially for like small businesses, is I want to put a hiring cap within this city. With all city projects, anything involved this city's money, that they had to hire at least 35% within the city of small businesses. That would give a stepping stone to a lot of local businesses to go out there to eventually go within the whole state. Also with the mentoring programs with the youth, I have a mentoring program for men. We also have a mentoring program for young women. I feel like a lot of women's voices are not heard out there within the city, and they need to be heard more. And pretty much the communication needs to be back up, and a lot of the stuff that's not fixed in the streets will get fixed. And you don't have to wait another 2 or 4 years until another election happens. That stuff will be done. Everything will be, the priorities will be now be straight, and we'll pretty much be going on the road to victory at the end. You can go on Ricky Vasquez for District5.com. You can see all the plans you can donate with on. You can go on Ricky Vasquez for District 5 on Facebook, and you can see all the updates I give to everyone within the community, so we can continue the road to victory and win on top and change all the city council within Fort Worth.
All right, thank you. Candidate Higgins, any last words?
Any last words? I'm Tonka Higgins. I'm running for Dallas City Council District 7. Y'all know South Dallas is my heart. Like I always say, Black Lives Matter, but if Black Lives Matter, Black communities matter, and particularly Black historic communities matter. This is a fight for the future of our community, but not only just for South Dallas, but for the whole District 7. This is a fight for who is going to control the development of our community, and if we're going to be reallocated or removed from our community. This is a fight about gentrification. This is a fight about redistricting. This is a fight about maintaining 14-1 and the reason why it was set up the way it was, and why our ancestors and our elders in our community fought so hard to have representation for African Americans on the council. This is about putting the power of the people back in that office. It's about taking this past, wearing Black Lives Matter masks and painting Black Lives Matter on City Plaza. This is about action. If Black lives truly matter, then we need action. And so this is about, that's what my campaign is about. And it's about changing the ideas of the people, about what we need as leadership. And it's also about getting down there and being able to change that conversation around City Hall. We marched this summer for change, and we pushed for a lot of change, and we pushed for reallocation of money from DPD's bloated budget into city services and things that could actually address some of the systemic problems in our community. But we didn't get any of that, right? But we got the City Plaza painted with Black Lives Matter on it. We got a lot of our elected officials marching in a protest with us and wearing Black Lives Matter masks and saying they for us, right? But at the same time, while you're saying Black Lives Matter, you're not a champion of oversight. You're not a champion. You can't figure out how to defund and reallocate money. While you're saying you want to stop policing from being so invasive in our lives, you're also supporting other ordinances that putting them back in our lives with panhandling and street racing and all of these different things. So still using old ways of solving problems that have not worked. And so I'm saying, if you want somebody down there who is going to be centered in what's your real reality of what life is daily, who's going to fight for this whole district, then vote for me on May 1st.
All right. So I want to thank you too. First of all, again, we give a shout out to Reverend Kenneth Walker of the Inferno Uncaged. We wish you well and we hope you get well soon, Reverend Walker. Thank you, Candidate Vasquez. Thank you, Candidate Higgins, for taking of your time to come and share with us why it is important for Black people to pay attention and focus on these politics. I'm going to wrap this up with my own personal information and assessments. Number one, when we're looking at candidates, you want to look at candidates, first of all, that have an understanding of the history, that have an understanding of how things work, that have an understanding of budgeting, where the money should go. Look at how candidates handle their own campaigns. If I'm seeing you flash a Cash App to accept campaign donations, I question that, because you're supposed to have a treasurer and a bank account. Get out. I just realized I had a guppy back there. These are the things we look at. You want a candidate that is smart. Now, when you look at Dallas, around that horseshoe, you got a lot of people behaving badly and arguing. There's a time for peace and there's a time for disruption. You want a candidate that can assess those times and utilize that effectively. So again, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you so much. Y'all know I got a son, and just thank y'all for tuning in so much. We had a great conversation. You all have a blessed day. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. The candidates, I will post their websites and their contact information. Give me just a minute. Get out. Come back in here. You're going on punishment. I will post the candidate contact information. Changa Higgins is running for District 7 in Dallas. You need change in that district. And Richie Vasquez is running for District 5 in Fort Worth. Thank you all for attending. You all have a blessed evening.